Hi everyone, so today's video we're going to be looking at the Iron Orchid molds, and I'm showing you there the Wow melted powder. I just found this out myself that they even had it. Christina from the boutique at one point sent me this container to play with and figure out, what to do with it. Well, in watching some videos and doing some different stuff, I realized that, well, you're supposed to heat it up. So I bought these. They're like pot pie tins. And I'm clipping on, like, those sandwich clips. I have one of them clipped onto the end so that way, your hand doesn't get hot. While I have the heat tool underneath the pan. And playing with this and doing this, I realized that one, the clip, it works because for what I needed it for, but it probably wasn't the best method. And two, you're gonna want to be tempted to put the heat gun inside the pan like how I was just doing. You run the risk of blowing the powder out of the metal tin if you do that. Just a forewarning, okay? It's better to heat it from the bottom. If you're going to be doing a lot of this, I think they said there's, like different melting pots or things that you can get so that way you can keep it melting, or, once you turn it off and it cools, you can always remelt this, okay? So the first one we're going to do in the mold is going to be, I'm just going to do clear. I'm not putting anything in it, just the melted powder, heated up and poured straight into the mold. Okay, so you can see I'm trying to keep the heat on it, and I'm pouring it into the mold real quick, and then I have a little bit of it still in there. I just add a little bit more powder and some of the, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like an embossing powder, but it's mixed, okay? You ever see the kits where they have like different embossing powders and elements and they're all like color coordinated? Well, I just grabbed some colors from that. And I'm heating up the tin again so that way the extra clear that I put in and the purple embossing powder will start to melt together. And as they're melting and it's not going to blow all over the place, I put the, heat gun on the inside so that way I can melt it a little bit quicker. And then once I did that, I just keep the heat tool on it as I try to get every little bit of it I can out of the tin. And then I found out that with the, once it's in the mold with the heat gun, you can see what I was doing. I was using the air from the heat tool to try and push it around so that way it would be fully covered. And then I kind of pushed it off to the side so that it would dry. This is one that I did in preparing for the video, and it wound up taking a lot more of the melted powder than I thought. So while the melted powder is, sitting off to the side, I'm going to use the powder, EK Success powder tool in my, I guess it's like a border mold. And we're going to use the clay paper clay. Now, on this one, what I've learned in watching more videos on it and seeing people use it is with the paper clay, you have to not only take it and kind of like warm it up or work it, but it's important that once you've laid it into the mold and you've pressed it down, that you immediately take it out of the mold. I think the very first time I used these, I had it sit like overnight in the mold because I thought that's what it was supposed to do, and I learned in fact that it's not. It's better to get the clay that you need to together, press it down, make sure it's all even. You can try and clean up the edges so that way you don't have to worry about that part at the end. And once I get everything pressed down the way that I like, I'm going to attempt to take it out. And in the process of doing it, I realized that there's a section that didn't get a whole lot of clay. Okay, so I'm going to try and see right in there, it's like cracked a little bit. So I grab it to put it back into the mold so I can add clay, paper clay, back on it to, you know, make it more stronger. So I'm trying to get it set up and back into the mold the way it was originally. And I'm just trying to grab a little bit more clay. I'm sorry it was a little bit off camera there, but I moved it up so that way you could see me adding more clay to that section that was thinner than the others. And I'm just rubbing, trying to get, because you'll see if you ever play with the clay, sometimes it seems like it's got a lot of cracks in it. And when it's doing that, I kept, you know, rubbing it, trying to clear or smooth that out. Now, these have cooled off, and that is the clear one. And then this one, what was really neat is, to me, it's not as cold as resin, but it has that kind of look to me with like swirls of purple in it. It was really pretty. And the best part is the Tim Holtz scissors helped trim any pieces that were sticking out on the two melted pieces. So I really liked it. It was a good plan. I think that if I do it again, I would definitely want to invest in one of those melting pots, like, I don't know, like for soaps or candles, whatever it is, that would keep the liquid hot long enough that I could, you know, pour it into the molds and work that way. But we'll see, you know, because doing that, something really quick, you could add your paints to it. There's a lot of different techniques that you can do with this technique. I just wanted to show you on this particular video how to use the molds for something else besides the paper clay, even though I did use it with the clay as well. If you guys have any questions on it, or if you wanted to see some other type of videos using the molds, just leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button, and I will see you guys with our next video. You have a good one.